What is up, ladies and gentlemen, my OMI homies, my VeVe fan, my digital collectors around the world? Welcome to Digital Collecting Talk with Doc, episode 3. I am really excited actually to talk about this one, or to dive into this episode. So where this is kind of coming from, and I'm just gonna I'm pulling up my tweet from like a week ago, and what I did is on December 11th, so yeah, just a little under a week, I said I'm calling it right now. 2025 will be epic for VeVe and OMI. So freaking bullish. And it got a lot of traction. Got some comments. People are like, "Well, where is this coming from? Why are you all of a sudden so bullish on this?" And in fact, you know what? Let me just tweet this out to people, let them know that we're live here. Hold on 2 seconds. Okay. Guys, like, I just love talking about digital collecting and physical collecting, and VeVe has really done that for me. And so to start it off, I have to give a massive shout out to Comics and Crypto. Sean and Spencer, they told me about with certain collectibles and things, you can get what's called like an uncirculated designation on your collectibles. And the way that happens is if you can basically drop it off to get graded while it's still in the original package from the distributor, then it's never been opened from that package and it gets that designation of uncirculated. So I need to point to the outfield like Babe Slider says here. Shout out to Slider. Got Bill Gardner. What up, Bill? Good to see you. Bill and I had a chat just a week ago about Earth 2, actually. Holy cow. There's so much with Earth 2. It's overwhelming. So shout out to him for kind of doing a walkthrough there. And use Candy Talk. Yeah, we're going to talk about Data U and Candy.io and everything. But back to this kind of like uncirculated designation. So Wax.io, they did the first NFTs with Harry Potter. And look, I know most people have forgotten about it. Most people don't like Wax. I did some Wax Topps baseball cards. Those fell flat on their face. But like, look, I can't miss an opportunity, right? But the cool thing was with this is you open these packages, kind of like card packs, right? And if you got certain cards, you got like if you got like a legendary or something, there was a physical Funko that came with it, right? So let's see, we got Echoes. What up, Echoes? Hey man, I think I'm coming out to East Coast like late February or something. So we're gonna need to do another meetup there. Matt Johnson, what up, Doc? What's up, Doc? Yeah. Bill Gardner says, my Wax portfolio is so down, I probably owe them money. You and me both, man. I'm going to be dodging the tax collector on Wax, man. Actually, that's probably going to help me out if I sold some of those NFTs, if I could sell them, which I don't think I can. But I still think that this is a big deal. So listen, like Harry Potter, I think is a big deal. And they had different versions of Harry Potter, but so what was interesting is they did this drop, and I think it launched at like 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe it was noon, something like that. And it was supposed to go until potentially sell out or something. And maybe it wasn't going like they thought it was going to go, but like they pulled the plug. And so there aren't a ton of these, to be honest, right? But in the packs that I was able to buy, I actually landed several of the legendaries. So then I was like, listen, I gotta collect the whole set. So I got the whole digital set of all of the legendaries. I actually have the entire set of all of the Harry Potter NFTs. I got that whole thing. And then I got the physicals. All right, guys. So check this out. So the first one Victor Crumb. Now, I haven't even opened it from like, there's like plastic around this or whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of, but you see that 9.0 uncirculated NFT release, 2,200 pieces. It says 2,200 pieces. There's no way there's 2,200 pieces because, well, like I just don't think there are. They might have made that, or there might have been 2,200 tied to the digital, but like just redemption and things. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. But that's what it says. 2,200 digital. Let me see if. Oh man, that. Hold on. Let's see if we can't block. Anyways, you got the shark head. It's actually pretty dope there. It's terrible lighting, guys. Sorry. There we go. Maybe that plastic doesn't help anything, does it? So there's a Victor Crumb, number one. You got a Hungarian horntail, uncirculated, right there. Hungarian horntail, NFT release. It's pretty sick. 9.25 grade. Cedric Diggory, right? And he's got that little water thing covering his face when they did that challenge. Uncirculated 9.25. Mer person. This is pretty wicked, actually. There. So again, it says 2,200 pieces. So I don't know if like each one is 2,200 pieces or like there's only 2,200 pieces in total. Can you guys tell me? Like maybe you guys know. I'm not super familiar with Funko Pop. But anyways, 9.0 there. Oh yeah, okay. Fleur de Couleur. 9.5. So that's the highest grade I got. She's got that bubble mask as well. Pretty dope. Okay, one of the other things, like if you collected the whole set, then you got a Freddy Funko, Harry Potter. So here he is as a Death Eater. So that was pretty awesome. 9.25. So listen, I think that there was a lot more people who probably collected like Harry Potter or some of these other legendaries. I really think that there are not going to be a ton of these. It says 3,000 pieces. Like I guess I don't know how that works, guys. I'm super confused, man. And then, funny enough, when I was first learning about Funko Pop, and I went for the Back to the Future drop on it, but I did land the legendary George McFly. Hey McFly, I thought I told you never to come in here. So why don't you make like a tree and wait, was it and get out of here? That's what he says. And then the old Biff says, "It's make like a tree and leave, you idiot." Oh, you sound so stupid when you say it like that. All right. Now, put these back. The crowning jewel, right? I can never get that straight. Yeah. Harry Potter. Now, the frustrating thing, out of all of my Funkos, he has the worst grade. Bummer. But super stoked on this. Again, now on this one, it says that there's only 999 of the Harry Potters. So super stoked on this. Again, shout out. And out of all of that, like I've looked on eBay and things, and some people are selling this. Guys, I swear I might be the only person that has uncirculated on these. I swear. That would be crazy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with these long term. But regardless, I'm super stoked on them. Super stoked on them. So again, shout out to Comics and Crypto with this. Slider says, "Those are cool, Doc. You've definitely been bitten by the collecting bug." I mean, this keeps like I don't have space. That's the frustrating thing about physicals, guys. You run out of space, right? Oh yeah, and scram. That's right. Make like a tree and scram. Good call. Good call. What up, Bean Tech? Good to see ya. Let's see. Oh, Bill Gardner says he picked up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones. Had to get a big boy too. Some big boy. I don't know what that means. Slider, my local card shop back in 2022 was big into wax. I remember talking to him about VeVe and he just kept talking about wax. That is funny. But he was stoked on wax, but not on VeVe. I couldn't get a word in, but people are slowly paying attention. What? Shout out to you, Big A. Good to see you, man. Bill Gardner. I am slipping thinking about buying Pengu, the token Pengu. I know that there was a big airdrop on Pengu. And man, one of my best friends got freaking drained. His mutinate stolen, man. He clicked on the wrong link in the thread. I'm so bummed for him. And he's been so careful. He's been in crypto for years, man. And it just goes to show you how crazy just like one misstep. Oh, my heart goes out to him. I haven't looked into what Pengu, like what's the utility of Pengu or what's going on there. Now, listen, I still haven't done this, but I'm going to do this. It's not just Pudgy Penguin holders that can get Pengu airdropped. In fact, like there's like some other ones like Goblin Town and Bored Ape and Mutant Ape and some other ones in the ecosystem that will get you that. But then also if you were like an OG user of Solana, like your wallet was, or on ETH. So it may be worth, if you've been in NFTs since like 2021, it really may be worth you checking that. Now, that being said, again, go to Pudgy Penguin's actual page on X and then just like check 1,000 times that it's the right link, that it's not like at the bottom of the tweet. Yeah, you got to just check that. Oh, it's so crazy. What are my thoughts on cryptoids? I'll dig into that. Probably near the end there. What's up, Energy? Good to see you. Look at Gary Network. I like Gary Network's been around for like if that's the one that you're talking about. I believe that's been around for a long time. Gary, yeah, it has something to do with India, but I can't remember. So I haven't looked into it recently, but back in the day, I did look into Gary Token. Big A says that Pengu settled, big market cap already, so even if it does well, won't see huge upside. I would buy a lot of other stuff. Abe, thanks for being the first one, man. Thanks for being the first one. You're always the first one somehow. I don't even know. Even when you're 20 minutes late, you're still the first one. That's incredible. Love to see it. Guys, listen, I'm trying to get better at this, and I remembered here, if you haven't already, please smash, push, crush, or gently caress the like, subscribe, and all notifications buttons. I'm trying to grow my channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs so I can monetize my channel. There's been a few people who are like, listen, as soon as you get monetized, I want to throw you a super chat. I would love to see that happen. Plus, it helps support VeVe and like all of and Candy.io. And I don't talk about cryptoids a ton. But even those, because like when I bring it up, right, like this gets pushed out, this content gets pushed out to a wider audience. So pump your own bags, guys, by liking, subscribing, and following me, right? I'm just saying. Okay. Let's go back to comments. Yeah, Abe says you're welcome for always being the first one. So I'm going to dive into this tweet that I put out, or this. We still call them tweets, right? Are we ever going to change over to like Zeet or something with the X? Probably not. But me just saying that like 2025 is going to be epic for VeVe and OMI. And there's quite a few comments that were like, where are you getting this? You've got to actually provide support. I mean, if you just say that, it means nothing, which is true, right? Like that seems random that I would just do this. And I'm like, listen, I'm not going to like text type all of this out, right? There's just too much to cover here. So I'm going to go down and tell you guys why I really believe that 2025 is going to be a big year for VeVe and OMI. And to start off, number one is the hiring of co-CEO Ben Rose. As VeVe has grown, it was very easy to see that David and Dan just had their hands full. Dan's just working on the VeVe-verse and a lot of the ops side of things. And David was really focused on getting more IP. And you could just see that, like, I'm sure that he's getting contacted by so many IPs out there. How do you handle all that, right? And if they're the one, if David is the one that they want to talk to, if David's the one that's going to seal the deal, that's where his attention goes. And I think that like we saw a drop in communication. Like it was bad. Communication was really bad. And that was one of the things that I would constantly say is I'm like, listen, if there's one thing that I would say that VeVe needs to work on is communication. And so let's kind of do like and this, I don't know, look back since Ben was hired. So right, VeVe made the announcement September 29th. They put out this video announcing that Ben Rose was going to be this co-CEO. And they said, like, hey, what's your role going to be here as co-CEO? And he said, listen, first and foremost, I'm going to just start by listening and learning. I'm going to be talking to all the employees, figuring out what they're working on, what they're doing, which is so important for any C-suite employee, right? Is to really start to understand the business and the people and the jobs that they're doing. And then he says, once I do this, then I'm planning to move into execution. And I like this quote that he said, it's the execution that really defines us. Now, let's be honest. I feel like we've heard this in the past, right? We were told that the VeVe-verse was going to roll out in like end of 2022. Even Mitch, who I really like, he's like, hey, we should be able to roll this out. Deadlines were missed. And so there's a lot of the VeVe fam, in the community who they just don't trust the team anymore. And like, I get it. I get why, right? Because we've just been told things. And the sad thing is I feel like there's a missed opportunity. Listen, companies miss deadlines all the time. But the important thing that didn't happen was for someone to reach out and say, hey, we initially had this and it's not going to happen. And here's why. Now, what we've been told is one of the main reasons that the VeVe-verse was kind of put on the back burner was because VeVe did that deal with Marvel Comics, which is a big deal. And I know that they can't be like, hey guys, we're putting VeVe-verse on the back burner because we signed this deal with Marvel for their comics. They kind of handed us the keys to their digital comics going forward here. So that's why, like, they couldn't do that. There's NDAs and everything, right? But they could still say, we're working on something really big. We can't talk about it right now due to NDAs, but you'll see and you'll know why we had to put it on the back burner. Those are the types of things that we're missing. And those are the types of things that we're now getting with Ben Rose, right? So let me give you some examples, right? That communication has skyrocketed, guys, with VeVe since Ben joined the company. Listen, like, he's already done several community update recordings where they, talked about the New York Comic-Con and what was going to be going on there. They talked about the digital tickets. Now, listen, Ben was like, I wasn't a part of this. This was already in the works and had been in the works. That's why I'm not going to New York Comic-Con, right? He was still at the time kind of wrapping his arms around the business. But he was popping up everywhere, guys, right? Like, they did a VeVe-verse update with Dan Crothers, did the VeVe-verse showcase with Mr. Falcon. Shout out to you, Mr. Falcon. Some epic, and I on one of my streams here, I went over some of the VeVe-verse rooms that are, dioramas. Like, I don't know what you want to call it, but that Mr. Falcon created, and it's phenomenal. They are so good. If you haven't seen that with VeVe, go to VeVe's YouTube page and look for that. It is awesome. He did some VeVe-verse Q&As, right, where they kind of said, here's what it is, here's what it's not. Red tweets. I love that. It's pretty funny, right? And I think that I think that was on like the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, where some celebrities would read like mean tweets or something like that. So he kind of did his version of that. The Evolvables announcement, right? So they talked about that. Okay, so since he's been on, we also got the new app rollout. Right? Like, it did not go well. I mean, in fact, just my last stream last week, there were people who were still like, I'm super upset. I'm thinking leaving VeVe for good. They were really, really frustrated because like it was it was a rough go. There was a lot of questions asked, and I think that people were just like, oh, like why wasn't there user acceptance testing, or like what, what happened here? And what did Ben do? Almost immediately, within like 24 hours of that rolling out and people complaining, he pulls on Mitch and does a video asking Mitch about these things. Hey, why did we roll it out right now? And Mitch was basically like, listen, like long story short is like there's the way that they built it out, like there used to be like a lot of technical debt. It seems to me. And now they've kind of, the way the app is now, first of all, it like marketing and the IP and the logos and everything, like the look and feel of the app was different than the web app. So they needed to make that the same. But then on top of that, like they made things a lot more modular is how I understood it, right? And so basically they're like, we will be able to, first of all, like build so much quicker on the foundation. But then if there needs to be fixes, we're going to be able to implement fixes a lot more quickly. And what did we see? We saw fixes happen really quickly, right? So one of them being, people were super pissed that the market tab wasn't just like right on the front page, which like there were definitely some, like the layout was not intuitive. But what they've done is they've done several updates since that rollout, guys, and it's been quick. And so that's massive. That is massive. Right. So shout out to him and the team for rolling that out. And again, that transparency of bringing on Mitch and saying, listen, here's some of the community concerns and questions. Let's talk about it. That is so important going forward. And I think it's just like Dan and David did not have time with the company growing and things to really do that. And so they really needed this co-CEO, and we're just seeing what he's been able to do. Now, one of the other things that we saw that Ben do is he kind of cleaned house a little bit. We saw some of the marketing people leave, and I don't know, like behind the scenes what happened there, but we did see some marketing efforts. VeVe had tried some marketing efforts. I mean, the Blackpink thing, incredible IP, and I mean that drop fell flat on his face. I mean, you even had Blackpink members like on their Instagram talking about it, right? And nothing. Like we almost got no new users. And so I think that they had to kind of do like a post-mortem on some of these things. And so Ben cleaned house, and he's reorganizing things in a much more efficient way. And I'm saying that because I'm seeing results. So that's a big deal. So also just with communication, like he's been so involved in the community. He's jumped into spaces hosted by several people like OMI, Osmond Collects. He's done AMAs with several YouTubers in the community. Not me, not yet, Ben, but I'm gonna get you. I loved his impromptu appearance on Randy's channel, kind of setting the record straight, right? With some of the crazy things. Listen, I like Mr. Pags. I think he's a character. He's eccentric, right? And he speaks with such passion that like people listening just almost take it like as truth as opposed to an opinion. And I think that's why Ben is like, listen, these guys saying some things, I got to come on and kind of set the record straight. You know, when Pags was saying that like VeVe needs to be marketing in Times Square and paying millions of dollars to do all this like Web2 marketing. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like that makes no sense. Like, I mean, Pags made some decent points about like where marketing should be most focused based on user base. But like, if you're looking at growth, they're saying, okay, we do have a significant user base here in the US. Maybe we need to grow it in some of these other spaces. And I just feel like he showed his debating chops a little bit with that, like, which was kind of awesome to see, because he's a very nice guy, but he came on and like he could hold his own in those kind of conversations, and I love that. And also, like, so once he cleaned house, like, he's been hiring, right? So yeah, head of growth marketing, head of community and communications, a communications lead, senior graphic designer, and affiliates lead. More on that later. That they're hiring for, right? So they're still growing. And this is exciting. And basically what he's seeing is he's like, as we are building out VeVe, we're needing these roles. There's people who have been wearing too many hats, and things are going to slip through the cracks. So that happens in any big business. If you have rapid growth, so many things fall through the cracks because And you can lose your culture. Like there's a lot that can happen with rapid growth. And I think that Ben is there and he's kind of straightened things out, and it's been awesome to see. And the last thing that I just really loved with Ben as this hire is he's showing accountability to the community with how much that he's in there in spaces on channels, just talking. And as he's doing that, right, he's addressing questions real time and concerns that people have in that. So, it's funny because people were initially, they were like, hey man, stop doing so many AMAs and get to work. And what we're seeing is he's able to do that while leading his team, who's being very productive and accomplishing a lot of stuff. So why is this important? I think it's a big step in the right direction. I think a lot of VeVe users, they hope so much for VeVe to succeed, but they're disillusioned in kind of like what they've been told and what they saw happen. And I think that this is the first step is reestablishing that trust by showing, as he said in that quote, right, that execution is what defines them. And I think he's really taking that quote to heart, and he's showing us that. So let's jump into some of the comments here. Let's see. Abe says, I want to know what you think Pokemon would do to the OMI token. It'll be interesting, Abe. I'll address this real quick. I think it could do a lot, honestly, but there's a contingent of the crypto space that's all about interoperability. And even with Pokemon, like Pokemon is a big enough IP that it just might still pull those people that they're like, look, like this is probably all we're going to get with Pokemon. And so like, I've got to get it. But where I think that it would do so much more for the token is if we already had OMI to NFT with a lot of our big IP, with VeVe's IP, which they don't have yet, right? So if they announce Pokemon tomorrow, I think that OMI would pump, but I don't think it would pump near as much as if there was OMI to NFT and you could buy Pokemon with OMI. Then I think OMI would pump significantly. I'm talking best case scenario. In that scenario, I don't know, man. Like it depends on like the timing of everything, like where we're at in the cycle. But like like right now, if it happened right now and we had OMI to NFT, and they dropped like Pikachu or something and it was super limited, I think it would bring a lot of eyes to VeVe and the OMI token, and it could definitely pump pretty significantly from there. What that means, if we're at triple, I haven't checked recently. Freaking CoinGecko, man. I have the app, and like maybe every 2 months, it like kicks me out and it doesn't accept my password anymore because I have all my tokens, my holdings and things. And anyways, sorry, I'm just whining, but like I haven't been able to like get that back in to see like my portfolio of tokens, and so I haven't been able to look at what OMI is doing today. There's one thing that I'm going to kind of talk about with OMI too. I actually didn't have it in my notes. This is not working. There we go. OMI. 00052. So we're down. A lot of things are down today. Typically when Bitcoin pumps, a lot of the alts start to bleed. OMI is no exception. So 0005. What's our market cap here? 142 million. I could see it triple to 0015, like on that announcement. That's not going to help a lot of people in the community, though, right? There's a lot of people who have held, but they never dollar cost averaged. So, but for people like me, like that'd be great. Like I bought the majority of my bags. I bought down in the 0005s. Even some of the 0004, 0007 mark there. So, man, like it. But Abe, it depends on like the timing because like for those of you guys who have not been in like a true bull run at the peak of a bull run, it is the only way to describe it is euphoric. It's euphoria. It's crazy. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. I know that. Listen, I made some crazy predictions about OMI in the past when I thought that we were going to have some significant burns already happening. But I'll just say this, like all bets are off on so many different tokens in the bull run. Like if it hits a narrative, again, it goes stupid. There's no logic behind it. That's all I'll say. I mean, it is absolutely bananas. So Big A, Fishmas has been really good. We'd like to see VeVe do small events like this, community loving it. Man, dude, Brock blockchain is awesome. I have not been able to do, I've been so slammed. There's a lot going on in my life right now. Not all of it good. And so had to take care of some stuff, and it's really taken my attention away. So I have not been able to really participate in Fishmas. So yeah, like I will say this though, Brock is a wizard at involving the community. So please look into Fishmas. First of all, just to support another like VeVe OG, but like it's fun. He does fun stuff. I've done Fishmas stuff in the past. So shout out to Brock and good call for bringing that up, Big A. Slider says, yes, they definitely were not great in communication, but over the past few weeks, it's definitely better. And that's what I've started to see. Like a lot of people are like, listen, like actually Ben's been pretty great, you know. Wes says, is VeVe falling off? I don't even know what do you mean by that? They just sold out their Thundercats comic. Oh my gosh. I've been super busy. Like as soon as they announced Thundercats, I'm like, I'm gonna freaking buy a ton of those. Can't wait to go for it. And I don't know how I missed the announcement, right? But like by the time I saw a tweet of someone who had like posted the SR, and I was like, wait, where's this drop? Is it like I didn't realize it was gonna be on VeVe Comics. So then I went over, and by the time I got there, they only had like 1,000 of them, and there's like 100, maybe 220 left or something like that. And so I was like literally buying as fast as I could, and I was only able to buy 8 before it sold out. And I didn't get an SR, super irked. But I mean, they're still selling out certain drops, Wes. So my answer is no. I do not think VeVe is falling off at all. Abe says, I became a Ben fanboy when he came on Randy's stream and answered every question Mr. Pags had like a boss. Yeah, right. Like he really showed that like he's not afraid of I guess like hard questions and confrontation, right? And some things he could answer, and some things he's like, I can't talk about that now. I do love some of the just like the crazy inappropriate questions that like Randy asks. Like when he asks him about like, you know, tell us about your incentive compensation package. Like, what does that look like? And he's like, yeah, like I'm not going to tell you about that. But there was another question during the PAG stream that he was like, I'm not going to answer that either. But hey, man, props to Randy for just shooting a shot and asking questions, and it's super fun. It's very good. Troy, man, good to see you. I appreciate you and your support. Hello, Doc. Nice to hear your thoughts. Slider says, good thing 95% of people not into crypto yet. They are not ideological about pure custody. I am for self-custody, but many people might not be and might want a custodian. That's true, right? Like I get like crypto, the whole ethos of crypto, right, is self-custody, like ownership of it. Like, and I love that, right? But there are so many people who are just not ready for that. And I would say, like, when I say so many people, I'm talking about, 95%. Guys, like I just look at like any sort of like legal disclosures. When you get a loan, I mean, they handhold you through like all of the disclosures and things that people get, like when they get a mortgage or something. Like there's like 100 pages, like 200 pages, like it's so many pages right now. Most people don't read it to their detriment, but like that's the thing, right? Like there's so many laws and regulations around this type of stuff because most people just. Perfect example is like my best friend, man, just today with his mutant ape that got stolen. He's a smart guy. He's been in crypto for a very long time. You are not going to get the masses with this, with how self-custody is right now. Masses are not coming. It's got to be different. You have to have custodians. People who buy stocks, the stocks are custodied, right? Like that's the majority of people. 401ks, like they don't actually hold the stock, right? Like they have a custodian who does that for them. So I know that Web3 people don't like to hear that. And listen, there's a lot of money from the Web3 people. And so it's weird because VeVe is in this hybrid situation where they're trying to onboard the masses, the Web2 people with the self-custody, but then a lot of the Web3 people reject it because it's not self-custody. But they continue to make inroads like into Web 2, and like I love what they're doing. And part of that is through their phygital collaborations that they're doing, right? You got, man, I can never do that. The Funko drop, the Funko Gold, shoot, the Stanley. I'm not wearing my Stanley hoodie. Like all these things. So this is where I think that, and we're going to talk about this. Another reason that I'm actually, this is a great segue. So before I jump into more comments here, marketing efforts really have not succeeded, right? And I remember for the past 2.5 years, people are like, win marketing. When you have a company that's tied to crypto and crypto is in the gutter, you don't have a lot of eyes. Like the money that you spend on that, it's not worth it. And I kept saying that. People kept like pushing for it, and it's just like the eyes aren't in the crypto space right now, you know? And again, we saw that with Blackpink, guys. They marketed heavily, like so much marketing. I don't know how much they spent marketing, and like the amount of new users they got, not a lot. So massive miss on bang for buck, right? So why am I talking about marketing, and what do I think is going to happen in 2025 that hasn't happened in the past is, well, we saw an affiliates lead that VeVe was hiring for, and they have now hired. Okay. Web3 influencers are so important to Web3. And a lot of Web3 is attention. And where does the attention come from? From influencers, from YouTubers, from big Twitter accounts, right? Like that's where it comes from in crypto. And so you'll see a lot of these projects, right? Like they will partner with, and first of all, they do try to get listed on exchanges, and we'll talk about that. But like they will pay influencers. They'll pay influencers to talk about their token so that they get exposure, right? So having an affiliates lead is so important to Web3, and Ben realizes that, right? Coming from Binance, New Zealand, in the crypto space, understands how important affiliates are, right? And that's where I would say that VeVe totally missed the boat on that, like over the last 3 years. And we had a space on that, right? Shout out to VeVe Magic. She was one of the ones who really came out and said, listen, there was a lot of YouTubers back in the day, like NFT Pirates, like for example, like Crypto Rain. That's the one that I give, like he got no love. Crypto Rain has gotten no love. And he was the second YouTuber to ever talk about VeVe and OMI. The second one. And he's the only one of the first 3 that is still talking about VeVe and OMI. And even a lot of those initial YouTubers kind of left, or they talk smack on VeVe now, right? And that's the thing, is like a lot of these YouTubers, they didn't get recognition. I mean, some of them got this little VeVe package. That was great, but like not ongoing recognition like they should have. And I think that Ben realizes that, and that's why we have an affiliates lead. And I was told I could share this, but I have spoken with the affiliates lead. And I'll just say that after speaking with him is when I made that tweet about how 2025 is going to be big for VeVe and OMI. So I really hope that you're listening as I say that. Yeah. So I'm just going to say this, right? Like I know of at least one YouTuber, and I know that there are more, but I know one that I interact with that has tens of millions of subscribers on YouTube, okay? And then millions more on different social platforms, right? Who knows all about VeVe, who has VeVe like collectibles, who has a big bag of OMI, and he's like, listen, like I love it, but like there's got to be something in it for me. Like, and he basically said, as soon as there's like an affiliate link and things like that where I can talk about it, oh, game on. I'll be talking about it all the time. And I'll just say that this individual knows superstars, like sports athletes, like extremely well-connected YouTuber. That's just one individual, right? And listen, I've connected VeVe and that individual, and we'll see what happens there, right? But they were in talks before, and that's this. Okay, let me back up. They were in talks before, and then that YouTuber got ghosted. That's crazy. So, but now, like, hopefully that there's a connection there, and that's what I'm just telling you guys. Like, affiliate marketing is going to be a very big deal, and it's one of the ways that with little, like, depending on how it's all structured, right? Like, so I'm just saying, like, you see some like affiliates that will be like, oh, like, here's a link. If people use your code, then you get like 1% of, you know, if people put 100 gems in, then you get like 1% of that, right? Like, just ongoing. And it can like into perpetuity for the first year that they spend stuff, like whatever, right? There's all these different things, but like basically VeVe doesn't have to spend anything until money's already coming in the door. That's a big deal, guys. That's such a big deal. So I really think that in 2025, we are going to see a huge shift in sentiment and in exposure, right, and attention on VeVe. And if you combine that with, well, I might be jumping ahead of myself here. So we're gonna stop there. Let's get down to some comments here. Troy says, I'm still holding out for a larger exchange before the end of the year for OMI. I don't think that's going to happen, Troy, but I will talk about exchanges, and I'll talk about why I don't think that's going to happen end of the year. Wes says, VeVe needs some type of leaderboard or gamification. It's gotten boring. I agree. I think that's happening on Stacker, Wes. And that's actually the next topic that I'm going to talk about is Stacker, so I'll come to that in just a little bit. Troy says, yes, I would say that OG, New G, everyone has lost tons of coins through errors or such NFTs. Yeah. Talking about like Web3 and custody, like it's crazy. And it's so sad. Like you see people who are just like, I've invested the last 4 or 5 years of my life in this, and like all of my like life savings and everything, like all of my net worth was in crypto, and my wallets got drained. And it's just like, that's so heartbreaking. So, you know, people cry out for interoperability and things, but they're then the first people who are like, hey, is there some way to get my stuff back if it's stolen, right? And there's not, and that sucks. And no, listen, there's definitely some purists who are like, yep, even if that happens to me, I won't complain because I know this space. But again, we want the masses. We need guardrails, and that's why I like this. But we'll talk about self-custody in like there are ways to still set up guardrails and still have self-custody. So let's see. I look forward to the new comic Godzilla versus Fantastic Four. Omar, when is that coming out? I didn't see that. That would be awesome. That'd be way cool. Troy says, talking about VeVe, it's gotten a bit stale, but maybe because there's so much else going on in crypto now. But like the gamification is important, Wes, like leaderboards. And we saw that with HRO. Like when HRO came out and there's all those leaderboards and stuff, there was a lot of excitement in the community. And there is something about the social flex of being able to be like, I'm number 2 on the leaderboard. I'm number 1 on the leaderboard, right? So you might have people who are like, I'm close and I'm going to drop even more money because doggone it, I want that number 1 spot. So that type of gamification, I think, is coming on Stacker, which is exciting. Bill Gardner says, Big A, good looking out. I don't know what that means. Troy, it's nice to see the Pudgy Penguins get lots of eyes on it. I hope it will put some eyes on VeVe too. Pixel Trader, what's up, Pixel Trader? I appreciate you, man. You've been great at the support. I really appreciate that. Excited for 2025. I know I am. I really am, man. I really am excited for 2025. Blackpink was a kick in the pants. Yeah, man. Look, for those who don't remember, there was a lot of FUD. I mean, there's still FUD. There will always be FUD, regardless. They get a lot more quiet when things are there, like when things are going well, but they're still lurking. I like that term, lurking. You know, they don't have like much to do with their lives, and so they just wait for, you know, so they can crap on other people. It's a miserable life, but there are people like that, and it's going to happen, right? And they were real quiet as Blackpink was announcing all these things, and then when we did not see a lot of new users, boy, did they come out in force again, right? And that was brutal. That was a big hit. That was a big hit to the psyche of the VeVe fam, right? Because like definitely a lot of people are like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this is so much exposure, we're gonna get this, and didn't happen. And I think that it was just the wrong marketing technique at the end of the day. Big A says played Off the Grid with Rain a few times already, was fun. He told me about that actually, and I'm gonna talk about Off the Grid and why Off the Grid I think is such a big deal and will help VeVe actually. Slider, tell me more. What Mamas? Is that how you say your name? What Mamas? I would love to know what that means. Charles Barkley has been in the app before. Listen, I don't know if you guys know Rudy Gobert, but he used to play for the Utah Jazz, and he was in VeVe's Twitter Spaces multiple times, right? And actually, the Utah Jazz they were about to launch like a utility NFT project, and then FTX fraud happened, and that all fell apart. Get Fred Durst back into the app. I know that was a hit. And drop an FA collectible of him, it would sell out instantly. Listen, I do believe that there will be a day soon. Like we've already seen it now with Dan and David, right? And Eagle Eyes. Shout out to Eagle Eyes. What, guys, if you don't know Eagle Eyes and all the work that this guy does for the VeVe fan, you got to follow Eagle Eyes. He is such a class act, man. What an awesome individual. I love that he has an NFT on VeVe. What an incredible thing. I think it would be so easy for VeVe to reach out to some of these massive influencers and say, listen, we're going to do a drop with you. We get all the like primary sales, but you get a large majority of the secondary sales, or vice versa. They could do something work out like that, but where maybe like basically these YouTubers or these high profile individuals say like, here's the utility behind this. If you own my NFT, you get access to my content for a discounted price. All these different things. Like, guys, there's so much that they can do with affiliates, like and collaborations like that. I absolutely agree that it would sell out instantly at a Vampire, and I think that it's not just Fred Durst. Like there's so many people out there. Hey, Mr. MC1, he says, hi all, great to see Doc streaming. Appreciate the support. So I shared with Mr. MC1, I got this report from YouTube, and my most viewed show was actually when I did an interview with Mr. MC1, and he was actually talking about the Apple Vision Pro. So that was kind of like February or March. So shout out to him. I'm like, listen, I got to get you back on the channel, man, so I can get my numbers up. So Slider says Tom Bilyeu was into VeVe very early. These people will come back. There's a lot of people who have left, but they are just waiting, hoping for VeVe to be successful, and they'll come back. But like Crypto Rain talks about, and I talk about, like in crypto, like most people don't buy when it's boring. They're not into things when it's boring, and so they miss out on a lot of games. But also they miss out. They also miss out on a lot of getting wrecked. They can still get wrecked. But like, sometimes you buy something, whether it's a token or like wax, right? Like the Topps cards, those were hyped initially and then, down. I haven't bought more wax stuff. But anyways, like there are people who they know all about VeVe and they've forgotten about it. But once the attention comes back onto it and the spotlight's back onto it, they will come back. They will come back. Tom Bilyeu, one of the things that he really liked, Slider, was the Vaultaholics and what they would do. So let's talk about that in terms of the VeVe-verse, right? And like what we saw Mr. Falcon building there. I think there would be a contingent of people, just like there is on Roblox or Minecraft, that like they're just building stuff and that's all they want to do. And I think that there will be people who are going to build incredible showrooms, dioramas, whatever you want to call it. And I think that can get a lot of attention, and those IPs love that. The IPs love that. So Troy says, I always like to ask what you think would be the number one collectible by price this bull run. Let me think about that, actually. Bill says, what's up, Sanjay? Yes, HRO had a good leaderboard. They did. Thudders have been feasting for 2+ years. Someday we'll have our time. We will have our time, Dan. I think our time's coming in 2025. I could be wrong, but like I'm putting my money where my mouth is. That's all I can say. Stop, Doc. I had to sell Eagle. I needed more Thundercats comics. I'm sorry. Man, that's pretty cool action that he has there. Flinging those wing feather blades. Freaking dope. Okay. Back to kind of like why I think that things are going to go very well for VeVe and OMI in 2025. Stacker. I know a lot of people are really mad, upset, confused as to why OMI is not. You can't use OMI on the VeVe app, right? Why do we need this secondary app? We have VeVe Comics app, now we have Stacker. We've got to do this, so it seems kind of like all like separate, right? And so it's extra steps, and I don't think that VeVe wanted it that way. Can I just say that? I don't think that they did, but like VeVe has to react, and all companies should be reacting to the regulatory environment. And we saw Dapper against one of those ruled was, hey, Dapper Labs, you own, like you control the blockchain, okay? You control the market and the marketplace, right? And you're the creator of the NFTs, and all those things together makes this look more like a security. And so that was one of the things is like Dapper Labs, they created this DAO to basically oversee the flow blockchain, right? So they weren't over it. Now, VeVe's not over like IMX's blockchain, right? Like that layer 2 where the token was. Like they didn't have their own blockchain, but they did kind of they own the marketplace, and they looked at that lawsuit and basically said, listen, a couple things. There's also like a big risk with custody, and there's potential regulations that could come into play if they're custodying your crypto, and also potentially custodying your NFTs. And so I say that with there may be a time where they look and say, listen, this has to be interoperable, or there has to be some way where you basically you own your NFTs, that we don't custody them. So it'll be interesting to see. I know the NFTs are kind of treated differently in general than cryptocurrencies. At least kind of that's what the SEC's actions were. Again, in general, not entirely, but in general. So yeah, Dapper Labs lawsuit, they kind of had to react to that. And they also kind of don't want to be responsible for people's crypto. So having your OMI on the app, but now you have it in a Privy wallet on Stacker. There's going to be a migration there, from my understanding, and from the VeVe app, where Dr. Profit and his team are building out kind of like this awesome bridge, where it's just like a one-click, they'll send it, be phenomenal. And Crypto Cosmo, like their bridge already works, right? He said that he bridged some of his L1 OMI on ETH to L2 OMI on Base, and it was super easy, and it's big. And also, I think that the more OMI flows onto the Base chain, the more that the Base ecosystem is going to recognize OMI. And I think that's another big thing for that, as I think Base is going to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger adoption, because Coinbase is US based. They're working with the regulators, and you better believe that they're going to be talking about their chain that they've set up there. Okay, OMI the NFT. It was exciting that we've seen some of that, right? But listen, and there were some people who were like, hey, like there was this initial burn and people were excited, and the burns have dropped off significantly, right? And why is that? Well, because most people want to buy like the big ticket items. They want the Disney stuff, the Marvel stuff, and it's not available right now. I believe that in 2025, we will get the large majority. And I say 2025, I think that Q1 of 2025, we are probably going to see a large majority of VeVe's IP on Stacker with the ability to purchase it with OMI. That will be a big deal. And with that will come more OMI burns. And as OMI starts to burn, I don't think it's going to be anything meaningful. Can I just be transparent with that? Like, it's going to be a slow burn, but the narrative is that it's deflationary, and deflationary tokens, like that is part of a narrative in crypto, right? So if VeVe hits another narrative, whether it's NFTs, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, and I'm sliding into kind of like the bull run that's happening right now, and why the bull run 2025, like we're in the bull run right now, right? And we're going into 2025. Bitcoin is reaching all-time highs again and again, right? We're starting to hear a lot more serious talk about some sort of Bitcoin reserve. I have my own thoughts as to whether or not like that's a smart idea. There's a lot of risk to that, just from a nation state in general, but then also to Bitcoin and price and all of that. But it is possible. And look, if you get some states and some countries really starting to hoard Bitcoin, the price is going to go bananas, right? But regardless, it's already starting to go bananas. I don't know if you guys realize this, but let me look at this real quick. But let me share my screen here. Let's do this. All right, guys. So let's do this max here. But let's get into, yeah, here we go. Well, there we go. So the low, I swear it got to around 15K. I remember, I don't know if you guys remember. So this is 2022. So it's been 2 years, right, since that low. But 2 years ago, I remember people saying it's going to 4K. Bitcoin's going to 4K. Don't buy here. Don't buy here. So listen, since this was basically the local bottom is 2022. So in 2 years, we're starting to see this, and just this massive jump. Right, if we go now to a year, kind of like how this has been performing, it's pretty crazy. And what's happening here? I mean, yeah, Bitcoin's jumped up pretty significantly, and it's reached an all-time high of like 108K, and I still think it's going to do more. And why is that? This is kind of all part of the bull run. Why is Bitcoin run up so much? Well, we have the halving, and that typically is a big part of it, right? There's less supply of Bitcoin, but on top of that, one of the big narratives is that we have a president and presidential team that is pro crypto, right? The president elect has a DeFi platform on Ethereum. Okay, so you better believe that there's going to be some more transparency, around crypto and what is and isn't possible. And I also believe that it's going to be, the regulations and things that are imposed are going to be pretty friendly in general there to crypto, and people are seeing that, right? And so this bull run we're in the middle of this bull run, and we're starting to see kind of different things pop off. We've seen Ecomi or OMI pop off some, right? Like it was down in the 0003s, and now it's 0055. It got up to like 0008, I want to say, right? Like, so we're starting to see things move, right? And this bull run is important because typically, as historically, Bitcoin hits all-time high, and then like when Bitcoin hits its new all-time high and then starts the slow drift down to the bear, a lot of those funds start flowing into altcoins, smaller market cap altcoins, right? And on top of that, like that money flows into different narratives. And so like this is going to be a very big deal. I think that VeVe is going to, with a pro crypto presidency, there's going to be a lot more transparency there. And VeVe and Ecomi are not going to have to look over their shoulders as much as to like, I don't know, like we don't know, this is a gray area. We don't know if we can do this, so we're just not going to do that. I think they're going to be absolutely able to understand what they're going to be able to, what they can't do. I foresee a lot of the lawsuits that the SEC has put in place, that those are going to get withdrawn, and that we're going to see a big push for some regulation and some transparency there. Also, and I don't know, I'll just say this, right? Full disclosure, I don't know what's happening with the lawsuit, but there was a lawsuit with Ben Gadenzi, right, in Orbis Technologies, and it had to do with a lot of tokens. He was saying a lot of tokens, and Crypto Bro, who my speculation is, I think Ben Gadenzi has been paying Crypto Bro. Can I just say that? I really think he has been. And because Crypto Bro put out this tweet, or he was responding because someone had asked Foster about this lawsuit. And Crypto Bro was like, oh, like he doesn't know anything. There's lots, and I can't talk about it. And it's like, well, how do you know? How do you know anything about that? The only people I would think would know about that is the VeVe team, which he's definitely not a part of, or Ben Gadenzi, right? And again, the reason I also say that is like, the Crypto Bro and I used to be on good terms. Like we would chat, and I asked him a few questions, like whatever. We were friendly, and then I did a video where I basically pointed out, because he has that OMI Watcher account, and like there was this crazy claim that like the VeVe team or a Comey team was insider trading, and with this OMI to NFT announcement, and they showed this big spike in the OMI price of sales or something, and basically Foster Hilton and I broke it down and showed how it was completely wrong, and he just didn't do the work. It was very lazy reporting, and then he blocked me. So why does that matter? It matters because it shows that he's not like it's not independent. I think he tries to portray himself as like, hey man, I'm just calling it as I see it. But like the minute that he's proven wrong on something like that in that big narrative, and then I get blocked, right? That's showing like what his intentions are there, and that's where like again, this is just speculation, but I do believe that there's some connection there. Whether Gadenzi's paying him or feeding him information, I don't know. But where am I going with all of this? Crypto Bro has been quite silent on this whole lawsuit thing, which leads me to believe that things have not gone well for Ben Gadenzi. And if that's the case, and that lawsuit is completely over, and they don't have to worry about any of that, and they can focus more on building in 2025, that also is a big deal. So I would love, like, I don't know if we'll ever hear it, like what happened with that lawsuit. Man, I would love to hear what happened there. But again, this is just me speculating, because Crypto Bro, again, when there was any like bad news for VeVe, he was there tweeting it out, right? Like about this lawsuit. And then all of a sudden he's been silent for quite some time. Don't think that's turned out so good for Gadenzi, but I could be wrong. But okay, let's see. Let's get to some of these quotes here or comments. What's the latest I've heard on VeVeverse? My understanding is that they're rolling out in Q1, right? Do you know if they're going to have a main social hub, VeVe City? I don't know that, actually, Dan. I kind of made this speculation on OMI is my homie, but I believe that VeVe at some point in time, I think within this next year, is probably going to have NFT movies, right? They've already got a connection with Warner Brothers. Maybe they have connections with other like movie studios, but I say Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers had rolled out some NFT movies, Lord of the Rings, The Flash, I think Superman, and I got them somewhere. I don't know if they still work, those links or whatever, but yeah, I bought some of them. And anyways, so I'm sure that Warner Brothers is like, listen, can we redo this and can get another shot at this? And they already have this connection with VeVe. They see that VeVe is actually the most successful like NFT marketplace for custodied assets, we'll put it that way, of digital collectibles type things. So, but where we might be able to watch these NFT movies in our VeVeverse home, man, I think that would be so massive. But I think that this is a good thing. Social hub is important. You look at some of these massive metaverse, Sandbox, Decentraland, and they're still, their token is pumped, which is so funny. This is why you have to admit that like attention is a lot and narrative is a lot, because Sandbox's token and Decentraland's tokens have pumped, and there's been no new real announcements from Decentraland or Sandbox. They still don't have a lot of users. VeVe, even now with their like users, has way more active users in their app than this Decentraland or Sandbox. And so I do think that there's a big opportunity in the VeVeverse to create a social hub. And because there's already a stalwart community, it could actually be one that sticks. So that's great. Dan says, I'd love it if someone could ask Ben in an interview. Listen, if I can land an interview with Ben and it hasn't been asked, I will ask him. Just remind me. Turtle, What's up? Hey, Turtle, man, you hit me in the DMs chatting about something like a meeting, and then ghosted me. So, oh wait, did I hear East Coast get together? Also, sorry. Oh, I didn't even read the whole comments. All right, got the ball. I need to finish up some projects at the end of the year. That's right. All right, all right. You're owning it. I'll give you that. Mo Collections, what's up, Mo? Good to see ya. Slider, the Bitcoin standard sounds like a winner. I think it will be adopted by most countries in 2030. Not financial advice. Aliens might attack New Jersey. Then we are all in trouble. I have not been able to follow those drones, man. Does anyone know like what's going on with those drones? Like that just seems crazy to me. It seems crazy to me. Yeah, we would definitely be in trouble. I don't. I think that there are probably aliens out there. I don't think they're anywhere near our galaxy or able to contact us. That's just me. I'm more of a tinfoil hat with like the government probably doing something with those drones and spying on people. um, okay, so I had talked about off the grid. So this is kind of like my other kind of final point about what's happening in 2025, or I believe is happening in 2025. That's going to be very bullish for VeVe and OMI. So there's this game. So there's this project called Gunzilla. I actually did pre-sale investment in Gunzilla like 3 or 4 years ago now. It had been 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And yeah, they were basically, hey, we're going to build this AAA game. It's going to be epic. And they had like the team that they had put together was very impressive, right? And look, at the time, like Axie Infinity had been around and that had pumped like crazy. It wasn't a AAA game, right? But it was really one of the first Web3 games that people played. And like, I mean, you had people all over the world basically being like, listen, I can play this game and make more money than I can actually make money in real life, like going and working a job. And so there was a lot of promise there. And so Gunzilla, they're kind of like the parent company, and they're going to be building out a lot of games. But their first game that they have built is called Off the Grid, and Off the Grid is kind of this like cyberpunk dystopian, extraction battle royale game. It's kind of similar to like it's like a mixture, I would say, between Fortnite or Call of Duty and Player Battleground. What is it? PUBG. Player Battlegrounds Unknown. I can't remember what PUBG stands for, but anyways, yeah, it's kind of like a mixture of these things. And listen, it is fully on chain. This game is fully on chain, right? And what that means is, as you're playing, and this is what I predict is going to happen. Web2 gamers, they've been, for whatever reason, the narrative, like they hate NFTs. And I don't know if it's like these Web2 gaming companies that are just like, listen, it's a scam, you're going to get rug pulled, like whatever, because like it's competition for them. But what I predict is going to happen is the company's going to build a game like Off the Grid, and Off the Grid is fun. I've seen gameplay of it. It looks a lot of fun. Big A's played it. Crypto Rain has played it. Another buddy of mine has played it, right, and said that it's super fun. And but what's going to happen is these Web2 gamers. So this game is already on Xbox, PlayStation, and on computer, right? It's on all of the mainstream gaming like hardware platforms, and they're going to be playing, and they're going to get some accomplishment. It's going to be like, you just won like the silver striped, battle rifle, and super limited. There's only 50 of them, and would you like to sell it on the marketplace for $500? And this gamer is going to be like $500, like in-game tokens. Like, what do you mean $500, right? And all of a sudden they're going to be able to sell it, and they're going to be like, wait a second, I'm playing a game that I like, and I just like made money, and I'm not like a Twitch streamer. I'm just playing the game and I'm making money. I'm not sponsored. I'm just making money from this. Boom. I think that it will blow up because they'll tell their friends will play it, and it will just explode. Why is that important? It's going to bring Web2 gamers into Web3. And one of the conversations is going to be NFTs. And they're going to say, well, what other type of NFTs can I get? And remember, all of this blockchain stuff is happening in the background, right? So they'll have a Web3 wallet. They don't know how to use it, right? So they're going to be looking for NFTs, and they're going to come across VeVe, and this can be something that's familiar to them. Like it's on the blockchain, but like really they can just buy stuff with a credit card. It's these NFTs that they can buy and sell on this marketplace. And I think that is a massive opportunity which could, in tandem with influencers and affiliate marketing, where, look, I think that like gamers could be incentivized to talk about VeVe as NFTs come. So this is a big deal for me, guys. Like I really think that all of these things combined are gonna really blow up VeVe and OMI. So that is why I put out that tweet. Hopefully that answers your questions. Let's see. So going back to some of the comments here, Bill Gardner says, my understanding with the drones is that there is missing uranium that went missing in New Jersey on December 2nd. The drones are scanning for radiation to find it. That's why they have broadened their search. Okay. Missing uranium that supplies why the vats are so big. Don't tell my wife. She's a Jersey girl. That's funny. It was in a shipping container that was damaged and uranium was missing. That's sketch, right? Because uranium is used, my understanding is, for like nuclear bombs, right? So like enriched uranium. So do we know if it's enriched uranium already, or it's just like uranium, like I don't know what they call that, standard uranium? That's not what it's called. Okay. So anyways, I would like to know too, like, have you guys been going for the Sabretooth? I know the Punisher evolvable thing was a big deal. That was the first evolvable. I like Sabretooth, right? Like Sabretooth, I love Wolverine, and Sabretooth was definitely one of, you have Cyber and Sabretooth. Sabretooth is definitely one of Wolverine's like main opponents, right? Like, I mean, he's a villain in a lot of Wolverine's stories, and that dude's Sabretooth is a troubled individual. I'll tell you that much. Kind of crazy. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna jump into Candy Digital, and kind of what's going on there. Have you guys been following Candy? There's been, I'd say about like a week and a half ago, maybe even 2 weeks, but there were some substantial purchases, like larger purchases of some of these comics, right, on Candy, DC Comics, legendary comics of like Batman and Superman, and it was kind of getting some hype, and that was pretty exciting. I'm going to share my screen here. So for those of you who might not know, I'm assuming most of you do, but for those who don't, kind of like a little bit of a background on wait, why? Hold on. I don't think that did it the way I was. That's why. Hold on. Let's try that again. There we go. Yeah, you probably didn't notice anything different, but I did, because my StreamYard, it was covering, so I couldn't even see myself and what was being presented there. But look, DC rolled out this project Backhouse, right? Matt Mason was in charge of it. It was phenomenal. Like Crypto Rain and I interviewed Matt Mason when it was dropping. The Gale covered it. He used to do a lot of YouTube videos and was pretty popular with the VeVe fam. It was awesome. And there was all this, this 2-year roadmap and this utility. And look, I think that they did a lot with it. And there's people who are super like irked for some reason. I think some of the biggest utility I got out of any NFT, besides the VeVe Gold and Silver logo, huge utility. So shout out to them, man. But it's not a profitable proposition to continue to add utility and not have secondary sales continue to flow through, right? Like there wasn't revenue. And so long story short, they kind of like merged with Candy. I don't know if Candy bought the rights or what happened, but all of like DC Comics and the Backhouse and all that stuff is now on the Candy hold on. Excuse me, Candy.io platform. I'm a big collector of a lot of their stuff. I still have, I bought 6 bat cows, maybe 8 bat cows. I own 5 now. Still that I bought from original, and one of them I just like truly love. And look, if they never are worth anything ever again, I like no regrets. Loved them. I love the style. But they're doing a lot of drops, and one of the things with the bat cows that they've done is this legacy cow and this story. And the bat cow holders were able to kind of vote on this new storyline of this bat cow, right? And now there's this legacy bat cow, and so this drop that's happening right now is Batman Legacy Cowl, the deluxe edition. And basically what it is there's been 3 different comics that the community has been able to vote on the story as it's gone along. And so let's read this. It says, "Who hides behind the cowl?" Created with the votes of DC NFT collection holders. It's the story of the Bat Cowls. Over the years, Batman has designed various specialist cowls and other bat kits for specific tasks. He keeps them all secure in the Batcave, but when one goes missing, collection holders helped shape the hows, whats, and whys of the comic to tell the story of Batman's newest mystery. So that was part of the utility, is like Batcow holders were able to be a part of the creation of this new storyline for Batman. Now, I don't know if this will ever enter into actual Batman canon, but this is still so cool to be a part of that, right? You got to vote on who the villain was. There's a ton of stuff with that, right? So it says, in 2023, a new DC supervillain was introduced through the votes of the fans, but the journey is just beginning. This volume is part of a groundbreaking multi-year narrative experience where fans become characters in the DC universe. During the creation of these issues, fans played along in digital experiences, some as members of Batman's Gotham City District Nightwatch, others cracking the code on the Harley Quinn crew, or participating in exclusive behind-the-scene events. Collects Batman the Legacy Cowl number 1 through 3. So one purchase, 2 editions. When you purchase this Batman Legacy Cowl for $50, you are getting both the digital and physical versions. No, you don't get a version with this purchase. Physical version. The digital edition will immediately appear in your collection, while the physical hardcover will be shipped to you in 6 to 8 weeks after the pre-order window closes on January 12th, 2025. I think this is phenomenal. I have ordered one. It will definitely sit up here. But so Candy's doing that. They also have, so we're going to go to this drops page. Now, they have the MLB stuff. I've shied away from baseball stuff since Topps and getting burned on wax. So I have not gotten any of that. I probably should look into that though, because I do like candy. So if you guys have not got one, look at this here. The Legacy Cowl Poison Ivy Edition is free. So if you don't have a Candy.io account, but you like the Bat Cowls or you're interested in this, you can go on and get this Bat Cowl Poison Ivy Edition for free. I think is awesome. So they also have some comic drops. So what they've been doing is, and I love how different platforms are innovating. So what DC has been doing recently, or Candy with DC IP, is they're dropping these comic books. So Absolute Batman #1 was dropped. And if you see this right here, right, there's the core edition, and it's kind of got this infinite sign. It's an open mint, right? So, and it doesn't end until December 31st. So on the core edition, you can buy it for $5, right? The digital version of it. And it's just like, my understanding is that it's just your mint number is, let's say that there's been 520 minted so far, and you buy one, you'd be mint number 521. If you bought another one and no one else did, you'd be mint number 522, right? So I don't know where the mint number is there, but that will kind of tell you where they're at in these mints. But that's the core. And so then you have the opportunity when you're going and buying like the randomized edition, right? Like the blind box, you're not necessarily quote unquote worried about getting the core. You get an uncommon, rare, ultra rare, or I guess legendary. They're the epic legendary. Their mint or their rarity editions are called. They use different verbiage for the rarity editions. So, but anyways, you got Batman, Absolute Batman #1. This has been huge. My understanding, I was at my local comic book shop, and they said that they're expecting like the 4th printing of this. Like been super popular. You got Absolute Superman #1. So like all of these have sold out or like are done with, like the variety editions or the blind boxes of them, but you can still buy the cores, right? So there's that. These are the drops here. Okay, what's currently live, like with the randomization, is this DC3 Superpower Pack Series Sweater Weather. Like not my thing, so I'm not getting that. But Batman Gotham by Gaslight #6. So they've been doing a whole series on this. You can get that core edition. So coming soon, Absolute Batman #3. That's gonna be dropped here. I believe this Wednesday. So tomorrow. So again, you've got the core edition, and then you got the various. So what some people are trying to do, right, is they're trying to be the first one to mint this, so they can get like mint #1 or super low mint number, and then they'll go for the variety edition there. So, but one of the things that's going to be happening on this is, let me see if I can. Let me stop sharing here. Let me see if I can find this real quick on Discord. But the last week of December is a pretty big drop. Where did that go? Yeah. Let's try that again. That's weird. My Discord wasn't open. So that's going to take a second. I don't know. Let me check my phone. I don't know why Discord is not working on my laptop here. Let's do this. They made a massive announcement kind of talking about what was, and I like that they do this. They say basically, hey, here's what we're dropping for the month. And so let me find that announcement here. But there is a really big comic that they're dropping at the, if anyone knows it in the chat, you can throw it in there. Kind of speed this up here. But it's coming. No, where is this announcement, guys? Where is this? I'm not. That's really bothering me. I'm going to check one more place. Let's see if I can pull this up, their announcement. Here we go. So, and I'll share this page here. All right. Sorry about that. Thanks for being patient. So gear up for an epic December DC3 lineup. And this talks about it weeks 1, December 2nd through the 6th. That's where it talks about the sweater weather that's happening. Absolute Superman #2. Weird War Tales. Now, something that they did with Weird War Tales is I believe that people who got like the variety pack, actually some of them randomly were like, I don't know if they were randomly airdropped the legendary, or like if they just bought one. Like some of the packs just had an extra legendary in it. I thought that was pretty cool, a surprise. So they had Hawkman. I got that. Bought the legendary of Hawkman. Absolute Batman. But anyways, let's go to this last one. That's what it is. Flash Comics #1. So if you guys haven't paid attention to anything that I've just said regarding Ken.io, please pay attention to this. You should be going for this comic. If you land the legendary, I think it's going to do extremely well. So like if you don't want to keep it, I am keeping it. And one of the things, and one of the reasons that Candy Digital continues to have my interest is, first and foremost, I think it's important to support other NFT platforms or digital collecting platforms. And I like the stuff that they drop and why I support them. But like, they are working on interoperability with their IP, right? So where Now, from everything I've heard, and I believe that it's in beta, that there are beta testers. I applied to be a beta tester. I was not selected. That was a super bummer. But yeah, we're basically like there. You will be able to take your DC Comics and potentially backcalls and things and put them in your MetaMask wallet, right? You can put them in a cold storage wallet. Now, what that's going to look like is not the actual comic book where you can read it like you can on the platform, right? It would be some extrapolation of that. It'll probably be a 2D image that you can store there, which shows the token, and then you could basically import it back in, and then you would get that, the usability of reading the comic book, but it's got to be on that platform. But I think that that's the first step, right? And I think it's important that one of these major IPs actually do that. And then some of the other major IPs that have been sitting on the sidelines can look to see what happens with that, right? What do people do with that? Are there any risks that they're not aware of and they see that? So mad props to Candy.io and DC for kind of being pioneers with this, from going from kind of like a walled garden environment to pushing interoperability. I think that's phenomenal. It's something that I definitely have to support and shout them out for that. So let's see some of these comments. It's fun to okay, let's see. So Bill Gardner says, honestly, Common Sabretooth was my favorite. I haven't crafted since. I love the Common. Yeah, it's awesome. I do love his suit though, man. His suit and kind of just like the little flowing fur that he's got. Iconic suit, and it looks so good, guys. I mean, my thumbnail, I think is so freaking awesome. I think it's so awesome. Like, it looks so good. So like, and that's another thing that we've really seen the quality of these drops. They are on point, and so I can't even imagine what it's really going to look like in the VeVe-verse. Oh, it can be epic. So Slider says, when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Green Uranium Ooze, perfect marketing opportunity. I forgot about that, man. The ooze. I just remember Vanilla Ice, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go. I remember most of that rap, actually. Let's see. When is the last time we had a DC drop? I feel like it has been a while, huh? I'd like to see one soon just to make sure we still have the IP. I still think that we have like digital collectibles. Most of them are still doing quite well, and you look at like the number of editions and stuff that, like, I feel like Candy's kind of found their niche with the comics here. So again, especially since HRO dropped out, we'd like to see more DC stuff on VeVe. I agree. I love it. Slider says, yeah, HRO had a lot of season 1 and 2. I have Candy, but I haven't checked it in months. Really need to. Yeah, man. I like look into it again, Slider. At least for the last week, right, to get that Flash #1, you definitely go for that. All right, Wes, please tell Randy that DC Comics isn't coming over for Candy to VeVe. I don't think they are anytime soon. But listen, one of the things that companies do, and this is also a risk to VeVe, right? Like, to be completely fair, right? But listen, in the business world, you have contracts, and then once those contracts are near expiration, there's typically like renewal clauses that'll say like, yeah, this will renew for 1 year, like every year, unless like either party notifies the other party within like 120 days before the end of the contract type thing, right? So, and then sometimes like they're liking it so much that they actually want to lock in like a good price or something, so that they'll extend that instead of just like a 1 year renewal. It might be a 3 to 5 year term. So it all depends on, legally how they work that out. But at some point, DC probably has a contract. They have a contract with Candy.io. To hold their stuff, but at some point, if DC is like, listen, like, we feel like we can make a lot more money going over to VeVe, that might happen. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, and I don't give it a super high probability, at least right now. So that's my thoughts. The Gardner Earth 2 skins are super detailed. The ethereal one is the best looking. That's cool. Wes, throwing some shots. Earth 2 Metaverse won't be here until 2030. Well, Bill says January rollout for beta, so we will see. Hashtag Shoon. Slider says DC Comics are coming west. Don't ruin my Christmas. Yeah, I don't think it's happening, to be honest, Slider. Okay, guys. So, and let me see who had asked. Was it Dan? Someone had asked earlier about Cryptoys. Let me go check them out real quick. Um, let's see what they are up to. I know that they are building out kind of like a little mini gaming universe for their NFTs, which I think is awesome. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see what's going on with Cryptoys right now. So one of the things that I do like about Cryptoys though is the easy onboarding. It's super easy to set up an account and really to like log in and things. So they've done that well. I also really love their like unboxing experience for their NFTs. That is something that I feel like VeVe should do. Yeah, I mean, like the first time that I saw that, and even now, like I open it and it's fun. It's really fun. It is part of the experience, and I think that's when you're trying to get those dopamine hits. Like, listen, looking at the mint number is awesome, but like, and everyone loves the green truck, right? In fact, hold on, just a second. Still have that. Everyone loves a green truck. But listen, the green truck could pull up and then like it drops this package and then you got to unbox it and it could still do a whole thing, man. This is me. I don't know how much it would cost to design that. And I know that Cryptoys kind of changes it with the different drops that they do here. But, you got Disney, Mickey, and Friends. They do have a market. And one of the things that I do like about Cryptoys with interoperability is they have created a way where basically they have another marketplace where you can purchase their stuff with crypto. So Rarible is where you can go and buy their NFTs. There's kind of like a process to do that, but and it's still kind of a walled garden where basically you can only buy those NFTs on Rarible. And it's because they need the royalties. So Rarible has been able to develop it where the royalties for this IP, the IP is insured. I think that's one of the biggest. I think there's several different concerns with the IP, right? Going interoperable is how do you make sure that the IP gets their royalties? I think Stacker does that. So if you want to call interoperability that going on another marketplace that's not VeVe's, but it's still a walled garden, right? You can't put it on your MetaMask yet. I do believe that will be the case in the future. I don't know how far down the road that is, but so start your collection today. So here's some of the drops that they have. Masters of the Universe Wave 2. I love Masters of the Universe. He-Man was a big part of my childhood. So I have some He-Man, Cryptoys, Star Wars Volume 1. That was a big deal. And one of the things that they do with their grails, I don't know if they're still doing it, but like the people who hold their grails get utility. Like they've gotten physical. Like I saw one guy got a skateboard deck, some other things. So that's some cool things that you might want to look into there. But yeah, these are the different ones that they've got. Mickey Friends Volume 2, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Goofy. And these are cute, man. Like these are cute. And another thing that I do like about Cryptoys is the whole packaging aspect, right? So as I have my, like, I didn't even take it out of like the plastic, right? Like wrapping from my Funko Pops. And it's kind of the same thing, right? With this Yoda, he's in this package. And like, if you want to play with him in their gaming little metaverse that they're building out, you're going to have to unwrap him. But there is that extra level of collecting, right? Where it's like, I can keep him kind of mint in this package or open him up. And then on top of that, they kind of have, I think they called it kind of like a parent-child NFT relationship where my understanding is that in that game, like, so you see like Yoda with a green lightsaber and then Luke with a blue lightsaber or Anakin with a blue lightsaber. And I don't know how much interoperability there will be, but my understanding is that, certain characters will be able to hold certain other like child NFTs. So Anakin might be able to hold Yoda's lightsaber and vice versa type thing, right? But you might not see Donald Duck holding, Anakin's lightsaber. But so anyways, it's kind of what I'm seeing here. One of the things that they probably should do actually is they should kind of have like a link to the blog, kind of like their most recent announcements here, So that's something that But this kind of tells about it for those of you guys who aren't familiar with it. Look at this kind of unboxing thing. There's sound that goes with it. It's really cool animation. That's when you open it. So I'm listen, when they roll out their little game metaverse thing, like I will definitely go in and I'll probably live stream playing some of that. But let's see, let's jump down here. VeVe Zombie, what's up? Good to see you. VeVe Zombie. VeVe Zombie's awesome, actually, and he helped me with one of my fun little tweets with a tweet with President-elect talking about OMI. That was a lot of fun. So a lot of shout out here. So I don't love the green truck. It only brings you comments. It's my nemesis. Let's see. And then looks like there's a sidebar conversation. Hey, Bill, how do we get Shane to Essence on base? I don't know what that means, get Shane Essence on base. But okay, guys. Listen, I feel like I've covered everything I kind of wanted to cover there. I hope that gives you, again, a clearer idea of what I think is in store for 2025. I think that VeVe and OMI are going to do some pretty impressive things. Now, that being said, for people who bought the top at like 1.3 cents OMI, like if all things go crazy, right? Yeah, like it could. I think that there's still a good chance that OMI goes above its previous all-time high. I do believe that. But how high above that? I'm like, I don't know. And that's why it's, for me, there's a couple of things that I've been saying this whole time. I get a lot of crap from the fudders and being like, oh, like all these people, like, you know, you were telling people to buy OMI. And I was like, I didn't tell anyone to buy OMI. I tell people what I am doing. So in my financial position, I was buying OMI all the way down, dollar cost averaging. But what that also does is now my overall base price for OMI is much lower than what I initially bought in at 008, right? It's a lot lower than that. So I can definitely ride this wave that I think is coming with OMI and enjoy. And here's the cool thing, guys. I think that if OMI hits a narrative, VeVe things are going to be along for the ride. If something in VeVe hits a narrative, OMI is going to be along for the ride, as long as you really do have OMI to NFT tied to the majority. And I'm talking about like 98% of their IP. I think that if that's the case, it's like either one could hit and then it'll bring the other along with it. That's my thoughts on that. So let's see. What happened to the games? Their paid influencers have went quiet. Their COO left. I did not hear that. Have they announced anything lately? Let me check. I have not heard anything from let me see. What's the latest tweet here? December 5th. It's still kind of talking about November 27th. So, oh yeah, not a ton of tweets. Like in November, main tweets there's probably like 10 tweets. There's a little bit more when they're talking about showing that choose your game. Well, let me show this. I think this is important because hold on. Now, where's this at here? Why is that not showing? PlayStation Brick Walls. Why is it not showing? We're gonna try this. Let's see. Oh, that's why. For it. Sorry, guys. One more try. I believe it's X. Yeah. Okay. So it says, who's ready on November 5th? So this has been over a month, but who's ready to play with their cryptoys for limited time? We're giving early access to some pre-alpha concepts for a few new mini games and experiences. Currently available only for your open ZooFO characters. I do remember them announcing that, though. But it looks like you've got, let's see. These are pre-alpha concepts. Take your characters for a spin. Let us know what you think. So you've got the Zoom. So I'm guessing some sort of like mini racing game, Void Voyager, and then Zoo FO block. I don't know what that means, but it looks like they're building out some concepts and maybe doing some testing on that as to like what makes sense. So looks like they're kind of just building. They've got their head down and they're building. So seeing that, I'm not as concerned because if they're just busy with that, but having their COO leave, that's concerning more than like the lack of frequent tweets there. So if you got more information on that, I'd like to know that. But wait, I thought Essence was the cryptocurrency for Earth 2. So when you said, how do we get Shane to get Essence on base? Oh, so how do we get Shane? So some person named Shane. That's what I didn't get. Slider says 2025 will be a critical year for VeVe. I think it's going to be good also. Yeah, Bill Gardner was awesome. What a champ. He walked me through. Speaking of which, if anyone wants a free plot in Earth 2 in Omi Island, hit me up. Yeah, Bill knows a ton about, I mean, Randy does too, right? Earth 2 stuff. So if you guys have questions about that, he was able to walk me through because I got on that website and it was way overwhelming. And I feel like I can normally take a lot of things in. And I was just like, this is too much. With everything else I got going on, I'm like, I just don't have time. So he was able to walk me through that. It was awesome. So, okay, guys, with that, I'm really going to end the stream here. Appreciate y'all, you guys. Again, if you haven't, man, I'm really, my goal is to, I don't think I'm going to hit it by December 31st. There's too much going on, but I am hoping maybe by end of January to hit 1,000 subs. So again, if you could, please smash, push, crush, or gently caress the like, subscribe, and all notification buttons. I appreciate your time. It's the most valuable resource we have. I appreciate all you guys' friendships and things, people reaching out all the time, hitting me up in the DMs. If you guys have things that you'd like me to talk about or people you'd like me to interview and talk to, please let me know. And with that, yeah, we're going to end the stream and appreciate y'all.